For centuries, the corridors of the Vatican have hidden secrets that were never meant to be revealed. Men of faith, chosen to bear the burden of leading millions, have fallen before forces no one dares to name. Could it all be just a coincidence? Or is there a curse hanging over the successors of Peter? The history of the Catholic Church is marked by enigmatic prophecies, eerie coincidences, and suspicious deaths that defy all rational explanations. From murdered popes to successors doomed by terrifying premonitions, something dark and relentless seems to be haunting those who wear the papal tiara. Whether due to political conspiracies, revenge from unseen enemies, or a fate sealed centuries ago, one question always returns: who will be next? And what really happens when the bells of St. Peter's Basilica toll in a tone heavier than usual? Today, you will uncover the hidden stories of dark prophecies and mysterious deaths that haunt the throne of St. Peter. But first tell me, do you really believe that the Vatican controls everything that happens within its walls? The prophecy of St. Malachi, a chilling vision of the end? In the 1100s, an Irish monk had a terrifying vision. Amid the darkness, the names of future popes were revealed to him, along with their fates. This monk was St. Malachi, and his prophecy foretold that there would be exactly 112 popes before the Church, as we know it, would come to an end. His writings were forgotten for centuries until they were rediscovered in the 16th century, bringing a bone-chilling revelation. The list of popes was unfolding with terrifying accuracy. Each one of them had been described in mysterious phrases that inexplicably matched their lives. The final prophecy spoke of a certain Peter the Roman who would rule during a time of tribulation when the Church would face its greatest trial before being destroyed. But what if I told you that the last pope on Malachi's list has already been elected? Are we living that moment right now? The pope who died after 33 days? An assassination? 1978. White smoke rises over the Vatican, announcing a new pope. John Paul I, a humble man, takes the papal throne with a serene smile. But only 33 days later, he is dead. The official explanation? Heart attack. But the details are disturbing. He was found lifeless in his bed. But something didn't add up. His body was embalmed so quickly that no autopsy was ever performed. Documents vanished. Witnesses changed their stories, and, most alarming of all, John Paul, I was about to expose something that was never meant to come to light: a dark financial scheme, dangerous connections to a Vatican bank, and names that could not be revealed. Did he uncover too much? Was he silenced before he could reveal the truth? And if so, who had enough power to erase a pope from history in less than a month? Pope Pius VI and the visions of the Church's doom. Another enigmatic case is that of Pope Pius X. During World War II, he was known for his disturbing silence in the face of global atrocities. But behind closed doors, stories of apocalyptic visions and ominous premonitions haunted his final days. There are reports that, before his death, he had terrifying visions of the Church's future. He confided in some close associates that the smoke of Satan was infiltrating the sacred halls of the Vatican. But what exactly did he see? What horrified him so much that he left behind this chilling warning for the future? Shortly after his death, Vatican secrets were locked away. Documents disappeared, and those who tried to expose these stories met strangely convenient fates. Is Pope Francis the last? The final days of the Church? And now we reach a decisive moment. According to some scholars of Malachi's prophecy, Pope Francis may be the last true pontiff before the final fall of the Church. But why? He has survived assassination attempts, internal revolts within the Vatican, and external pressures to step down. His speeches speak of dark times, of spiritual crises, and of drastic changes that could shake the faith of millions. But does he himself believe he carries the weight of a curse? The prophecy is nearing its fulfillment, but if there is a curse upon the popes, how did it begin? Who set it in motion? And most importantly, what happens when the last name on the list is finally crossed off? The Vatican, one of the oldest and most powerful institutions in the world. Centuries of history, secrets guarded under lock and key, and documents that have never seen the light of day. But what if I told you that among the thousands of scrolls hidden within the Vatican secret archives, there are records of something terrifying: the curse of the popes. Few people have had access to these forbidden archives. Some claim there are reports of popes who died under mysterious circumstances, assassinations covered up, and even dark rituals performed within the walls of the Holy See. But the most terrifying part: there are documents suggesting that the Church itself knows about the existence of this curse and has spent centuries trying to contain it. Imagine for a moment a secret room far from public eyes where forbidden records are kept under heavy surveillance. What could possibly be hidden there? Could the truth about the curse have been locked away for centuries, kept out of humanity's reach? A pope assassinated inside the Vatican. The case of Pope John VIII. Let's go back in time. The year is 882. Pope John VIII rules the Church with a firm hand, but his reign angers powerful figures within the Vatican. He questions alliances, denounces betrayals, and becomes a target. Then, one day, he is found dead. The official version: poisoning. But the details are disturbing. The poison wasn't enough to kill him, so his assassin struck him on the head to ensure he would never rise again. John VIII's death is one of the first documented cases of a pope being murdered inside the Vatican itself. But what really happened? Who feared him so much that they had to ensure he never spoke again? And more importantly, was he the first victim of the curse, the prophecy of Saint Malachy, a dark omen for the popes? In the 16th century, the Catholic Church was engulfed in intrigue and power struggles. It was then that something strange happened. The prophecy of Saint Malachy, which predicted the exact number of popes before the end of the Church, came to light. But there was one chilling detail. The prophecy warned that as the list neared its end, each pope would meet a grim fate. And as if it were a warning, a series of inexplicable events began to unfold. Take Pope Urban VII, for example. He died only 13 days after being elected, one of the shortest papal reigns in history. Heart attack? Poisoning? No one knows for sure. But the strangest part: before his death, he ordered harsh punishments against corruption within the Vatican. It was almost as if he knew his time was running out. Was the weight of the prophecy already manifesting itself? The brutal execution of Pope Benedict VI, a darker truth. Another bizarre case involves Pope Benedict VI. His reign was brief before he was imprisoned by enemies within the Church. The reason? Political accusations. But what happened next is a true mystery. Benedict XVI was strangled in his cell, a pope murdered in cold blood. But why? What did he know that had to be silenced so quickly? If we go back to Saint Malachy's prophecy, we see that each pope was destined to bear a specific burden. Some would face wars, others would be plagued by corruption. But those near the end of the list would die under suspicious circumstances. Were these murders merely political disputes, or was the curse itself choosing its victims? A pope who knew the exact day he would die. Now, imagine a pope who knew exactly when he would die. Sounds like fiction, doesn't it? But that is exactly what happened to Pope Pius X. Pius X ruled from 1903 to 1914. For years, he made grim predictions about the future of the Church. He warned that something terrible was coming, that a great war was approaching, and most chilling of all, that he would not live to see the worst of it. Then in August 1914, just 1 month after the outbreak of World War I, Pius X died suddenly. Heart attack, they said. But many believe he simply knew that his time had come. What did he see? Why was he so certain that he wouldn't live to witness the horrors of war? And once again, had the curse finally come to claim him? May 13, 1981, St. Peter's Square, Vatican City. A massive crowd gathers, eager to see Pope John Paul II, one of the most influential religious figures in modern history. The Pope waves to the faithful, smiling, completely unaware of what is about to happen. Suddenly, a deafening sound pierces the air. 3 gunshots, panic, screams, chaos. The Pope collapses on his mobile throne, his body stained with blood. He has been shot in the abdomen, hand, and arm. Security rushes to his aid. The crowd erupts in horror, And the shooter, Mehmet Ali Akça, a mysterious man with dark ties. But here's the most chilling detail. John Paul II believed his survival was no coincidence. He claimed a divine force intervened. But what if this assassination attempt was part of the curse? What if St. Malachi's prophecy was slowly unfolding, leading each pope to his fate? The secrets of Fatima, a prophecy fulfilled. But wait, there's something even more disturbing. Have you ever heard of the secrets of Fatima? In 1917, 3 children in Portugal claimed to have visions of the Virgin Mary. The last revelation, known as the third secret of Fatima, was kept hidden for decades, and when it was finally revealed, something shocking came to light. The vision described a pope being shot and collapsing to the ground. Now think about this. That vision happened 64 years before the attempted assassination of John Paul II. Coincidence, or a warning that the curse was already in motion? Exiled, banished, and doomed, the curse beyond Vatican walls. The curse of the popes doesn't just strike within the Vatican walls. Some were exiled, abandoned, and left to die in distant lands. Take Pope Gregory VII, for example. In 1085, he was forced out of Rome by enemies within the church. He fought back. He resisted. But in the end, he died alone, never returning to the throne of St. Peter. Another case? Pope Pius VI, who was captured by Napoleon and died as a prisoner in France. His body was buried without ceremony, without honor, a humiliating fate for a pope. And what do all these cases have in common? Each of these popes faced opposition from within the church itself. So maybe the curse of the popes isn't just something supernatural. Perhaps it's an invisible force working behind the scenes of power. The pope who disappeared, the enigma of John XXIII. Now, let's talk about one of the most mysterious cases in papal history. Pope John XXIII, elected in 1958, was known for his progressive vision and efforts to change the church. But there's a detail few people know. He vanished for a time. Yes, you heard that right. For a short period, the Pope disappeared. Reports suggest he isolated himself due to a terrifying revelation. Some say he had a vision of the future. Others believe he discovered something so dangerous within the Vatican that he had to step away. What did he see? What did he uncover? No one knows for sure. But one thing is certain. Immediately after this mysterious disappearance, John XXIII rushed to implement radical changes within the church, as if he were trying to prevent something only he knew was coming. Is Pope Francis the last? The end of the church? And now we arrive at a chilling question. If St. Malachi's prophecy is true, Pope Francis could be the last pope in history. Malachi's list predicted 112 popes, and Francis is the last name on that list. But what does that mean? If the prophecy is real, the church will collapse. Francis will be the final leader before a catastrophic event. But what will be his fate? What if I told you that there are signs he is already being threatened, that his time may be running out? The curse of the popes is not over. And if history has taught us anything, it's that no one, not even a pope, can escape his destiny. The Vatican, a city of secrets, conspiracies, and unseen forces. The Vatican is more than a spiritual center. It is a sovereign city-state, a place of power, mystery, and hidden forces that few dare to question. But what if I told you there is something even darker behind the suspicious deaths of popes? For centuries, whispers have spread about an invisible force inside the Vatican. Some call it the hidden hand. Others prefer the term the Vatican's secret sect, a shadowy group of powerful individuals who control everything that happens behind the sacred walls. But what is the truth? And more importantly, could this group be responsible for the curse that has haunted popes for centuries? Popes who died mysteriously, silenced before they could change the church. John Paul I, dead in 33 days. John the Third, poisoned and struck down. Benedict VI, strangled in prison. And the strangest part, all of them were on the verge of changing something important within the church. Could the deaths of popes be the result of something bigger than we imagine? Calculated scheme to silence those who try to expose forbidden truths. The curse doesn't start after they become pope. It begins. Before, the curse of the popes may not begin only after they assume the throne of St. Peter. There are strange cases of popes who were persecuted even before they were elected. Take Pope Celestine V, for example. He never wanted to be pope. He was a humble monk, uninterested in power. But in 1294, he was forced to accept the position. 6 months later, he resigned. He sensed something sinister. He knew there were forces too powerful for him to challenge. But his story doesn't end there. After his resignation, he was imprisoned by his successor, Pope Boniface VIII. And shortly after, he died in captivity. The official version? Natural causes. But some theories suggest he was murdered. Why? What did Celestine know that made him so dangerous? Why did a man so humble need to be silenced? John Paul II, targeted even before becoming pope. Another case. John Paul II. Before even being elected pope, he was already the target of assassination attempts. Powerful people didn't want him in the Vatican. But why? What made him such a threat? Was it just a political game, or does the curse operate in ways we still don't understand? Hidden messages in Vatican architecture, a prophecy in stone. Now let's dive into something even more mysterious. Have you ever noticed the architectural details of the Vatican? Some structures hide messages that few can decipher. For example, St. Peter's Square, when viewed from above, has a peculiar shape. Some say it forms a key, the Key of Peter. But others claim it hides something far more ominous, something related to the prophecy of the popes. Another curious detail. Inside St. Peter's Basilica, there is a Latin inscription, Tu es Petrus et super hanc Petram edificabo ecclesiam meam. You are Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church. But here's something strange, and some scholars believe this phrase has a hidden meaning, that instead of being a declaration of strength, it may actually be a prophecy of the church's destruction. And there's more. Throughout the Vatican, there are sculptures depicting death and the end of times. Are they just decorative elements, or hidden signs of an inevitable fate? The ominous prophecy of La Salette, a warning of the church's fall. In 1846, 2 children in La Salette, France, claimed to have received a message from the Virgin Mary, and what she said was terrifying. She warned that the clergy would stray from faith, that the Vatican would become a den of corruption, and that a great punishment would fall upon the church. But the most chilling detail, she mentioned that popes would die under mysterious circumstances, and that one day the very structure of the church would collapse under the weight of its own sins. When this account was made public, the Vatican moved quickly to suppress it. But some fragments leaked, and those who studied them believe the message of La Salette confirms that the curse of the popes is not just a legend. The final hours, the last pope of St. Malachi's prophecy, and now we arrive at the most crucial moment. The last pope on St. Malachi's list is already ruling. If the prophecy is true, it means that the Catholic Church may be on the brink of its greatest challenge in history. The question is, how will it happen? Will the curse of the popes lead Francis to a tragic fate, or will the Church itself collapse, fulfilling the words of prophecy? The signs are everywhere. The tensions within the Vatican, the scandals piling up, the attempts to discredit the current pope. Something is happening behind the scenes, and we may be closer to the end of this story than we realize. The clock is ticking, and the curse of the popes may be about to claim its final victim. Time is running out. The prophecy of St. Malachi predicted exactly 112 popes before the collapse of the Church. And if we look at history's timeline, Pope Francis is the last. But what does this mean? The end of the Church as we know it? Or just the beginning of a new era? The curse of the popes has always been present, in mysterious deaths, conspiracies, and ominous warnings that have echoed through the halls of the Vatican for centuries. But now we are at the final stretch. The last name on the list was written hundreds of years ago, and he already sits on the throne of Peter. Is fate already sealed? The signs are everywhere. Scandals, internal divisions, external threats. Pope Francis has already survived assassination attempts. Some say that powerful forces within the Vatican want him gone, but all of this was foretold. Ancient documents spoke of a time of tribulation that would fall upon the final successor of Peter. And now, that time has arrived. St. Malachi's prophecy, ends with a chilling sentence. During the final persecution of the Holy Roman Church, Peter the Roman will reign, shepherding his flock amid many tribulations. After this, the city of 7 hills will be destroyed, and the dreadful judge will judge his people. But what does destruction mean? The fall of the Vatican? The collapse of the Catholic Church? Or something even greater? More questions than answers. If the curse of the popes is real, then anything could happen at any moment. But what if St. Malachi's prophecy has been misinterpreted? What if there's an even greater secret behind all of this? Many believe that the next shocking event within the Church won't be just another resignation or a suspicious death, but rather a global event that will change history forever. Does the Vatican know what's coming? Are they hiding something? And the most disturbing question of all, are we about to witness the final chapter of this story, the Vatican's greatest secret? The curse of the popes has always been dismissed as a myth. But if we look at the facts, we will see a pattern that cannot be ignored. Mysterious deaths, assassinations, terrifyingly precise prophecies. None of this can be just a coincidence. But if the Vatican knows something, they will never reveal the truth. The Church has survived for centuries hiding its deepest secrets, and one thing is certain: if there is a dark truth behind the curse of the popes, it will never be exposed to the public. Now I want to hear from you. Do you believe the curse of the popes is real? Or is it just a series of coincidences and distorted theories? The signs are there. The historical records do not lie, and every year this prophecy seems closer to its fulfillment. But maybe the truth is hidden in places no one dares to search. And if there's one thing we've learned here, it's that history always repeats itself. And humanity's darkest secrets never stay buried forever. Subscribe for more mysteries and prophecies. If you enjoyed this video and want to uncover more historical mysteries and hidden prophecies, subscribe to the channel right now. Don't forget to leave a like so this video can reach more people, and share your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to keep diving deeper into the greatest enigmas of history, watch one of the videos appearing on your screen right now. See you in the next episode, if the curse of the popes still allows it.